Check, baby, check 1, 2. Pedro and I will be with you shortly. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is in the world you're coming to us from. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. As always, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. Man in the box behind me, Mr. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. It is Monday, November 3rd, and we're starting out November, Pedro, in what? In a cold November rain. You looked at my thumbnail, I got Slash in there. Got Slash in there talking about the cold November rain. for Bitcoin, starting it off on the downward trend. Woke up to the thunder in my ear from fiat leak going, which you may hear again if it curls back down. But Mr. Pedro Garcia, how's your day? What's happening? Pedro? You may have put yourself back on mute, sir. Hello? Looks like Pedro's internet dropped again. Pedro has been struggling with this one for a couple of days here, as you well know. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting off the show this week, likely with a series of shows about Bitcoin going down. I think Pedro knows this here.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you see my screen or no?
Nope. It has disappeared. Poor Pedro. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have Pedro in your thoughts. He's been struggling with his internet connection for a while here, and not happy with him. He's working with his internet company. He's working with everybody he can think of, and he'll no happy-o.
Man, it's so frustrating. And I even told you, I was having some meeting, and I said everything should be good. I got everything taken care of. Went out, bought a new monitor that's supposed to be perfect with, not monitor, but I don't understand what it is. Let me try this here. Come on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, while Pedro's working on that, what are the big things that happened in the past couple of hours here? Bitcoin dumping here this morning. Started out dumping last night in the London session with the London Open. The London market makers just said, that's it. We're starting out November, opposite of October. If you remember when October opened up, pumped.
Which is good.
November dumping, as we like to predict the month out. If November is going to dump in the first week, the last week it's probably going to pump. So that's good for us. We get some volatility in the market to the upside for a change. As you can see, nobody's crying over here with Bitcoin dumping. We're like, yes, bring in the volatility, bring in the price movement. That's all good for us. So we'll talk about what's coming on in November. And likely one of these nights this week, I will do a Rumble Premium, and either just me or both Pedro and I will talk about the month, setting the month up to our expectations, and just BS about that, kind of like I did for both August and October. But anyway, also, the price is also dumping. You want to know why, Pedro? I'll tell you the exact reason why it's dumping, and I know this for a fact.
Really?
Because Michael Saylor bought another couple of $1 billion worth of Bitcoin.
Liquidity. It just... Look, man, the man is consistent. You know what I'm saying? That is the one thing I can respect about the man. He's very consistent, and he's not. No, he's good. Yeah, absolutely. There's the liquidity right there that gave the market the drop. So that's all. It's a beautiful thing. I have no problem with him buying because he gives the institutions liquidity to short so they can drop. And at a perfect time, honestly. So if they can fill up their the next week and a half, their orders, you know what I'm saying? This is where I feel like it is super important, right? I want to see what is happening right now, especially the fact that we put in the last 2 days. Like I said, we want to see it go up. You could see here that really wasn't any demand wicks on Friday. I expected us to go down. So it was pretty clear that we were going to come and get the liquidity down in these levels here. I think more importantly is that I want to see kind of on the smaller time frames, right? Are we putting in demand wicks? We talked about on Friday, and how I was not. You were like, oh, we're going to put the buy. And I said, no, do not. Because we want to wait and see what's happening on the smaller time frames and see if they're really buying it, right? That's why I look at the hour and the 2 hour and the 4 hour. I would see a ton of buying wicks there. That's where it lets me know, okay, hey, guess what? We're most likely going to push up, because you can't hide buys on the chart unless they get rid of the charts. You can't hide it, right? And God forbid, wouldn't that be horrible, bro? If they actually stopped doing that, giving data out, that would be.
Anyway, you mentioned Aster. It didn't play out kind of like you had hoped. You said if you wanted to buy, you drew the pattern you wanted to see.
Yeah.
But it pumped, and then it said that was fake out move number one of the day.
Yeah.
And immediately started pulling back. So looks like it's going to come back down into our range of buying anyway. But I can't see your screen, but I put Aster up on the screen just so people could talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the morning Bitcoin thing, have we found some support here in Bitcoin, or are we looking at more dumpage today?
Yeah, I think we're going to be looking at more dumpage. I mean, when you look at BTC, when you look at the smaller time frames, right? Like, just look at your 5 minute, and if you bring it up to like start at like your 4 hour, right, or whatever larger time frame you look at, and you can see how the previous
remember your internet isn't working, so.
It actually is. So I just don't understand why I'm not able to live stream. Can you do me a favor? Can you send me my link again? Actually, you know what? I think that's what I can do. Thomas, where are you at? There you are, my friend. Okay. Boom. Okay, let's see if this works. Please, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Come on. Why don't you want to work the guy? Like, what is up? What am I doing wrong with you? Why are you mad at me? You can do it. Come on, I believe in you. I know it doesn't listen to me, but you know what? But it beats getting frustrated and getting mad at it, because that never works. You know, it makes me stupider. So, like,
it's stupider.
It does. Like, what happens is your prefrontal cortex shuts down when you go emotional as a guy, especially if you get frustrated and mad. Like, there's a difference between slight irritation versus full blown, like, you just get mad and you're just like, you literally, you go into reptilian brain, and before you know it, you're just like reacting based off of, you know, chemical imbalancement, which a lot of times most guys go too far with their anger. So it's like, you know, I'm gonna have to say that anger, I think. Come on, please. Why don't you? What is going on? I mean, you know what? I need to do this. I'm going to pull out here real quick and then come back in.
That's what she said.
I don't want her to pull. What are you talking?
Hey, it's a transgender world now, Pedro.
Yo, no.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll take this up for a minute here. As you can see, we got the BTC chart over here right now. And from the layman's view here, otherwise known as Tom's view here, this is the chart. We're looking at the 4 hour chart here. And you can see over the past 4 hours, it's come up a little bit from its bottoms here, but it's taken out a bunch of other lows. These lows right here were kind of key. This one, the last week, took that one out. Took this one out from the 21st of October, and essentially took this whole grouping of trades here from the 18th of October. The next one here is down at 103. I realized that was kind of a flash crash day and a heavily manipulated market day here. But there's probably some liquidity under that. Pedro, when he comes back, will attest to that. And then, of course, this cleaned things out all the way down to 102. Pedro, I'm going to put you on mute until you let me know otherwise here.
Right, etc. Electric motors.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, with the chart here, there's some definite downside here, unless we see a nice afternoon recovery here. And these levels aren't that far away. 103 and 102.4. Remember, these things came crashing down here, so a lot of the heavy liquidity that was there got taken out, got eaten, got munched up, and so I'm guessing Pedro would say because that happened, it can come down here more quickly. And as a number of people have pointed out here, you're looking at a big head and shoulders pattern here. The head and shoulders pattern. I can hear you, Pedro. Your mic is off though. Just tell me what you want. Oh, your screen's back. Your screen is back. All right, we're gonna bring Pedro back here. Bring that back, and then we need to grab his sound back, and then his screen back. Pedro, you have returned from the dead, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Pedro Garcia. Pedro, let's take a quick moment. While working with that, we blew right through the timer. Let's welcome everybody to the show. We got a good crowd already joining us here.
What's up, guys?
We had up to 12 people there a minute ago. Crypto Unicorn says, "Let's go!" We even have my manager account, otherwise known as me, saying November dump ? Well, so far, yes indeed. We need Slash pumping this. Yes, Slash should get on the guitar there and just pump this out. So thanks to everyone that's joining us. For those of you that are just joining us, drop us a comment, do all that kind of stuff. We're broadcasting here on Rumble. I publicized it on YouTube today to try it and see if we could drive some views back to YouTube. Not working, Pedro. YouTube, El no worko, but thank you to everyone watching us Rumble and even Facebook over there. We really appreciate that. And of course, as always, our Twitch and X viewers bring us up with a bunch of views that are about 5 seconds long. So thank you very much for that.
Absolutely.
Pedro, going over Bitcoin here is we can talk all day about it going down and then up and then down and that kind of stuff. But quickly, as people come and go on the show here to hit all the different things, the market's taking a beating here. Great graphics machines counting them down over here. Bitcoin down 2.7, Ethereum down 5.2%, XRP down another 5%, BNB pushing down under $1,000, which is good, heading towards my goal of buying it at 950, down almost 7%. Solana down almost 8%. It's a red day. Red day. Doge down 7%. Cardano 5%. All these things.
So
brutal.
Good.
I know.
I love it.
I know. It's terrible. The prices are going down. Damn, blam, damn it. The rest of us are like, excellent.
Well, more importantly, like what this means most likely is that we're seeing a down like first part of the month, right? And that's what I want to see. Like this is where it's putting in, because remember at the start of so last month, right, we went down, and so it now put in on the 3-month chart, we put that bottom wick in, and if we can continue down, I would love for us to hit that SMA down potentially at 8. I hate to say this, Bitcoin going down to 88,000 or maybe around 90, 95 ish. But then from there, I would expect to see a big push after that. And then after that, I think we could see a 150, 160 this month. And I know that sounds nuts, but the reality is that we're setting up perfectly for it from an actual trading standpoint, where institutions are dropping the interest rate. Institutions are dropping prices here on a lot of crypto and making it cheaper for people to get it. So for me personally, I'm looking at the coin like that is the perfect scenario for institutions to literally want to come and buy when something is cheap. And remember, they're used to a market that if it's 10%, 15% sell off, that means it's time to buy. And so obviously we're seeing a bit more of the percentage drop here because it's crypto and it's a nascent industry. But what I love about it is that it's setting up the week for a beautiful month. I mean, the fact that we have this like we could see a jump. So again, I'm not a soothsayer, I'm not sitting there, but I mean, I'm just looking at the charts, seeing what's actually happening, and then from there, hopefully it does go up. I'm betting on it. I'm definitely looking at it going like, I don't see it not happening. So anyways, but yeah, let's go ahead and go over the charts here real quick where I think it's going to go. So we can see here that we're following the 8-period moving average, really on that 4 hour. You can see how we're starting to come down, and it's starting to come all the way down to my area here of that 103. More importantly, I want to add this because I think it's super important to understand what's fully happening here. If the market decides that it wants to continue down, this market can go all the way down to that 87 to 90 area. There are a lot of orders sitting at these levels. Now, will it? I don't know, but the 3-month chart shows that it can. So this is where I'm looking at going like, there's that 87. If we come down, we should then see the 8-period moving average on that 3-month chart start to, I call it like tipping, or like it wants to come and touch the bottom of that candle here. It almost acts as a magnet as they both come together. So that's why I'm saying that 87 to potentially 90, like 97 area. So that's really what I'm looking at. Now, more important,
Pedro, quick, explain to the people what time frame chart you have up and why you look at that time frame.
Okay, so I always talk about how the market is sequential, right? Starting from the yearly, looking at the 3-month junctions, which is a year is built in 4 sections, right? Quarterly. Right. So that's why we look at it. And then I walk down from this moment. I don't do this every single, but when we come up to those junction points of a 3-month or a 6-month turnaround, right? We talked about 6-month turnaround on Bitcoin, right? When it put this in, and I said, this is a good sign because we actually finished above or close to the high of this candle here, right? Which was the previous 6-month. So I look at the yearly, 6-month, 3-month, and 1 month as an indication of a yearly move that I'm expecting. Right? We talked about how at the beginning of the year we saw a sell-off of Bitcoin, right? And then now it's showing again, we put up, and now it's creating the new leg for, not the new leg, but if you break it up into 3-month periods, a 6-month and a 3-month period, we have to come down first, then go up. And at the close of our 6-month period, right, we then go to the 3-month because we're at the last 3 months. So we then go to the quarterly chart, and that quarterly chart will then show me, hey, we need to first come down to go up. And so when you looked at the previous 3-month, we went down, we closed at the previous high candle, which showing strength in the chart. And so by me looking at it going like, okay, we're closing above previous highs or close to previous highs, which is right here, right? We saw this close here. So this 3-month period is the first part of the month, okay, or the first part of the 3-month period. And so we saw it kind of first go up, then come down. And it will first kind of go up, then come down, take off. And I'm getting into the micro movements, but basically I say it needs to come down first. And so we see it come down, and we have not surpassed midpoint of the 3-month period, right? That's going to be November, mid-November. And so the fact that we're starting November off at it, as it coming down first, indicating that the end of November should be up. So that's why we're looking at that point. And so that's why I'm looking at saying, okay, what does the 3-month period say? And the 3-month period said we pulled out liquidity right here at this level. And this was one of the levels that we put in, and we bounced off of it. We came back up, went up again, we came back down. So we're putting in, it should come back down and try to tap this low and then hit these areas right here for liquidity. You also have a 3-month liquidity SMA sitting right here. So you can see right here at these levels, boom, as well as that level right here playing off of these. And so this is where I'm looking at between this area. If we could have a flash crash this month that takes out all that liquidity, and then all of a sudden by the end of maybe mid or by the mid November, right, or next week, we start to show some real bullish signs. That's what I want to see. That's what I'm looking for. And so when I look at these markets, that's where I look at a chart and I go, all right, let's walk it all the way down and see. And if you can see a correlation between the higher time frames and the lower time frames, where we start to put those demand wicks as we start coming down to these lower levels. So that's where we're seeing, that's what I'm looking for, right? Absolutely looking for from a larger time frame scale, right? And that's where I'm looking at these levels here. Let's look at the 103, 310 area. It's going to be my first area, right? Where I want to see buyers start to step in. Second one's going to be down at that 90, 96 area and 91 area. And I'm actually going to be going over a lot of this stuff over on Bitcoin, Bitcoin.com this weekend on their podcast. So if you guys want to, so if you guys want to come watch me, I'm also going to be talking about it. Obviously, I always talk about a lot more in detail on the show, but I'd love to have you guys' support when they air it. That would be cool. But in the same sense, I'm looking really at these lower levels here, and because those are where the buyers are sitting, you know. And the reality is, the institutions, I think, want to buy at those lower levels. You could see here that we put seller wicks, seller wicks, seller wicks. Seller wicks, no demand wicks, right? Look at that. It's literally, and this is a 4-hour chart, 4-hour chart, right? And for us not to have any demand wicks is crazy. And look at that, boom, push. That's why I was like, we'll probably see it come down. But we did see support come in here. Now the next part is we want to see it bounce off of that 8-period moving average sitting right here as we start to see it come down. Most important though is as it's coming down, we want to see on the smaller time frames seller wicks come in. That's what we're looking for, is for seller wicks to come in so it continues down. If we don't see either of them on these higher time frames, that means we're in a consolidation period, and we'll just probably just do something like this, which will then really just drive me nuts. Right? And they just make people crazy doing this. Just looks like this. It's very hard to trade, but that's not what they're doing as of right now. They're selling off. You can see they're selling off here, which is pretty beautiful. So we'll see as we continue here, but we're starting off the month good by going down. So I want to encourage you guys with that. And the areas that I'm looking for is that 96 area, that 103 area, 91 area, and 87 area. So I'm giving you 4 areas that you could play to see where we could see price come down to bounce off and capture short-term up movement before we come down into this week and next week. That's in a nutshell. It's a lot more than a
nutshell. A nutshell.
Yeah, it's definitely not a nutshell.
Let's see. Well, Michael Saylor's hoping that whatever crash that you're talking about is a flash one and comes right back really quickly. Think of the billions that he would have if he just waited for the flash crash, and with some supercomputer beat everyone else to the orders when it dropped down to 103 or something like that. But as we've heard him talk, he's like, whatever the price is, I don't really care. I'm just buying it, stacking as much as I can, and but for the rest of us, it's fun to watch him buy at the top and then to watch the chart do exactly what you're talking about. Crypto Unicorns had a question here, or not a question, but a point. Where did it go here? Fire Chicken in the house. Best short I've ever had this morning. I'm done trading for the week. It's good for Fire Chicken. Made little cash monies. The side.
I love it.
Crypto Unicorn says that 6-month candle was interesting. Pedro, bring up the 6-month chart there again.
Okay.
Welcome, Fire Chicken. Thanks for joining the show. Coming to us all the way from Oklahoma. Oklahoma.
Weather.
Yeah, that's 6 months, that candle. I noticed that too. Here I talk about, like, all the time learning about the candles and how everyone, in the longer time frames, every candle has a defined demand wick, supply wick, and body. And this body's like this little beep. You know?
Yeah.
After we are, what, 5 months into it now? 4.5, I guess. 4 complete months into that candle, and no real defined body yet. So we got to see. And you know what? Your picture is covering the prices up. Let me turn you off for a second here. So the top of that candle is 126. So if we want just a decent candle body, you know, it's got to come back up to 116 to 120 just for a you know, to form like an average candle.
Yeah.
But that's not obviously no predictor. That's just a would be nice. But
Well, it
clearly,
will. I think we will.
right? But but I mean, it could form the body the other way, though. You know, there's all kinds of things to happen.
Well, this is the reason why I think it will.
I'll put this banner up now.
So the last previous candle, we went down first. Okay. Then we closed off here. Now, obviously, this one went up first. But what I think they're going to do is take it up, take it down, then take it up, is what I'm expecting. And so, because we closed at almost the high, I mean, literally, we closed at the high, or near the high of the previous 6 months.
Right.
And because of that, it is showing strength here by closing up at that level. And so because of that, I predict and assume that the institutions will want to continue that. Unless it looks like this and they close it basically looking like this, or on a red candle with a giant wick, and then I would sit there and say, you know what, most likely we're not going to have a bull market, like we are expecting, you know, which we see like excessive growth, right? But I just don't think that's going to happen. I think they're very much going to want to reach at least the 250 area, right? Because I would say that 250, 300 area is when you get the mass hysteria that comes in. And they want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then that is fuel for the institutions to sell off on them, and then see it come all the way back down to that, you know, 100 to 120,000 where we're sitting right now ish area. And so that's what I'm expecting to see. I don't expect to see a 90% or 80% pullback on Bitcoin. I do expect to see it maybe go 50% from its high. So if it gets to that 250, I expect a 125, potentially maybe 75, which again would be back down around that 100-ish area, right? Lower. I just don't like. I think it would. I think that 120 area is really where it wants to sit at. But I'm excited because we're playing right. Like, I think we're going right on that 6 month area. I think they're tricking everybody, trying to make everybody think, oh, the bull market isn't going to happen, and everybody is just like freaking out, just sell our bags, and then hence causing. Oh, I forgot that song. We're watching that the market would hit these areas here where it literally comes down into that lower level. People think the market's going to sell off and then they're going to push it. That's why I'm paying attention hard to that 4-hour period. Right? Like, that's the biggest thing, is the 4 hour, the 2 hour, that 1 hour. I'm watching to see, are we putting demand wicks in as we're coming down? That's why I think they're going to take it back up, right? It's literally because they're not, like, you can see even at this point where this liquidity area is right here, you can see that they pushed in, boom, coming down to here, right into that lower level, and then pushing it back up, but they're not putting demand wicks in. So to me, that means I feel that they're going to continue this down until people really start to kind of just puke out their positions. Here's the thing, and I think this is so important to understand, is that the institutions, like, they don't give up. Like, they will keep. They want that. They want that coin. They want that coin. They're gonna get it one way or another. And so it's honestly a war of attrition here, right? Is that, are you going to hold on to that coin? Are you going to diamond hand that? Or are you going to literally just, like, what was the thing that, what's his name, Roaring Kitty talked about when he was saying, hold on, what was that?
The AMC and GameStop coin thing?
Yeah, there was a term. Was it diamond handing? But was that where the term came, or?
No. What was that? I can't remember the term he came up with. He talked about his chicken tenders, his tendies.
Yeah. But in the same sense, man, don't give up. Don't give it up. You hold on to it. Hold on to your Bitcoin. And when we come to those lower levels, right? If they bring it, and the other part is they could just take it sideways and just make everybody go crazy. It's like when it's like you're starving, right? And you're like, and they know that inflation is going higher. They know that people are going to start hurting financially, right? People are going to go through, and their house is going to get expensive. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to come, and we'll talk about that here. But with that said, that means that people are going to need cash. And so are they going to give up their Bitcoin to do it? Like that's...
I think most people, the answer is yes, because most people, they think, let me rephrase that. Let me back up a little. Serious Bitcoin holders are early adopters, so they don't act the same way as the regular retail world. However, people think with their stomach and their roof first, if they have a family. If they don't, if they're living the batch life like Mr. Pedro here, there's a lot of other things that come first to use your money, and maybe keep stacking the Bitcoin for a rainier day farther down the road, or the day you don't want to do this anymore down the road. But I still think people think with their stomach and the roof over their head, and so they'd sell it if they had to. Or, just like Kraken announced today, they announced that they were allowing crypto to be used as collateral, not just in the US, but in Europe too. And they're also partnering with one of the banks to offer home equity loans, like everybody else now is doing. So you can use your crypto as partial collateral for home equity loans, and which means this is going to be a big one, Pedro, in a few years. They can borrow more money than their house is worth. Which means, and you know what happens when that? Kablam!
Well, that is coming, unfortunately, but that happens every second. I mean, it's going to happen regardless of whether Bitcoin. It's just the banks want the Bitcoin. Don't give up your Bitcoin. Be a woman of chastity. Don't give it up.
Don't give it up. If they say you can pay us in Bitcoin, don't do it. Just don't send the Bitcoin. Don't let them hold the Bitcoin in a fund. If they have like a real trust account,
give it back. No.
Yeah,
keep it in your wallet.
They'll pull some shenanigan like, oh, we lost the keys. And then they'll find them 20 years later. They'll find the keys 20 years later after they've settled with you legally and paid you dollars instead of your Bitcoin. Especially those early Bitcoins that don't have a lot of mixing services in their history and stuff like that. Those early I bet as companies pitch gaps in regulation and in law keeping money laundering out, you'll see the Bitcoins with kind of more prime histories in them be actually worth more than the ones that did through mixers a million times. Wouldn't be surprised about that at all. There's already companies out there doing rating wallets and rating the histories of coins because it's a gap. It's a gap in regulation, and trying to get the U.S. government to give them a big contract to monitor that for them. So, and by the end, there'll be like one Bitcoin left that will be rated as it's okay to trade. Everything else is suspect. Shh, got a social credit score. Don't want to talk about that either. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're at that point in the show. How we get I got 79 Space Lounge episodes talking about that queued in my head. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, everybody. Make sure, or good afternoon, wherever it is. We're UTC -5 right now, so we're getting some people in different time zones at a different hour in their day. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to DYOR Live here. Just a reminder, this is the second half hour of our weekly talk show. Make sure you're joining us and interacting with us. And Pedro, I'm going to take, as long as we can keep it going another 30 seconds here,
Sorry.
I'm going to read this ad here from... Let's see, which one? I got to pick one quickly here. Let's do Perplexity. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Looking for smarter ways to browse and enjoy your favorite content without ads? Get the Perplexity Pro bundle with Rumble Premium for just $19.99 a month when you sign up before December 31st, normally a $29.99 value. With Rumble Premium, you'll get ad-free viewing experiences across all your devices and access to exclusive premium content, no interruptions, no ads, just the videos and streams you love, anytime, anywhere. Plus, Perplexity Pro boosts your productivity with unlimited research, unlimited uploads, exclusive member perks, and access to the latest and most advanced AI models for faster, smarter answers every day. Save over 30% on this powerful bundle. Head to rumble.com/premium before December 31st to sign up and unlock your premium experience. As always, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching on big screen TV. Hold up your cell phone there. Click that QR code that's right over next to me there and bring up the information. Put your eyeballs on our sponsors. We'd really appreciate it. Also, if you're watching on your phone or tablet, in the chat, there's a link there. Go learn more about the Rumble Premium and Perplexity bundle. And if you're watching on the replay, as always, thank you very much. In the description, there's a link to follow. Thank you to Rumble and Perplexity for being sponsors of DYOR Live.
Yes, thank you guys. You guys
Alrighty. Chuck and crew out there, everybody, give us a chat. Let's get that engagement going. I know you realize you're mining fiat out there. Chuck, you're probably saving someone's life there. You've already made your money in Bitcoin this morning, and now you're doing things like, saving grandma who just had a stroke. Little Jimmy who broke his ankle playing baseball. Miguel running from ice, crashed his car.
Bro, dude. Dog, man. Listen, I'm already getting messed with enough, dude. We don't need other people to come and just tag us. It's the nuts.
I was trying to think of. I was trying to think on the fly there of what doctors, the general crowd that doctors are fixing right now. Chicago, it's just crazy. I mean, certain neighborhoods, it's just dudes are They switched. They went from the minivans, then to Jeeps, and now they're like popping out of like 1988 Saturns. The ice guys are popping out like boing. Dude, taco stands are empty. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's funny is we are, like where I live, we're seeing a huge influx of migrants. And I'm, again, I have an open idea towards this. Me and you do not have a, anyways, we don't necessarily agree on this, right? But we're seeing a lot of immigrants come into where I live. And it's really actually interesting because I grew up in California in a certain area, and so gangs were a part of our lives, like in the area. And so I am noticing, and I have to be, I'm kind of shocked how many different types of gangs that I grew up with on the East Coast, or excuse me, on the West Coast in Cali, starting to see them kind of populate certain areas. And Like I'm starting to see more of, the tats, a lot of the things that I grew up watching and looking at, and I'm seeing it, and I'm like wondering, like, I hope, because ICE is a real thing, and regardless of it, they can enter into even states that harbor, immigrants for protection.
They're on their way. They're on their way to your state soon.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I wonder if they'll go after anybody who has familiar tattoos, because it's very clear. You have to.
I wouldn't get a tan if I were you, Pedro.
I'm gonna go get a tan because that lawsuit would be nice.
I'm gonna be here sitting here introducing the show, and it's just gonna be, this blank. Where's Pedro? Well, he's seeing some friends of his in El Salvador. The problem was he does his version of Spanish is all American and Coast Guard Spanish and restaurant Spanish, and not actual Spanish. But they grabbed him because his name was Pedro. He's in a cell with Pedro Pascual, the actor. But I'm American. Tough, you're out too. Get lost. You got a Mexican name. Pedro, I have a great one for you. Guys were complaining on, as I spend a little time on X every now and then, trolling these idiots that post. And one guy complained because someone's tweet, whatever, and his name was a foreign sounding name to us Americans. And the dude's name that posted saying, "You don't even have an American name, so what the hell are you doing here anyway?" His name was Scott. Scott is the literal definition in your name, means I am from Scotland. It's not like it can't be construed as anything else. It came from the suffix, the name in your name, the family name, Scott. I am from Scotland. Scott. Or our family is Scottish. We are from there. And it switched to be using as a first name about 100 years ago, just because that's what happens. And his name is literally, I am from Scotland. And then he says, "You don't even have an American name."
Yeah. Bro, I'd just be like, "All right, my dog. All right, it's time to go."
Yeah. Check, please.
It's bye. Here's the tip. Have a good day. I will not be here all day. Pedro's out of the building.
DeFi Dude is watching. All right. Thanks for watching us. Really appreciate it, Dara. In Ireland, we thought immigration would be like international Baywatch, but it turned out to be mostly the Muslim Brotherhood. Disappointing. I don't know. What, Dara, what the F were you guys thinking in Ireland? I mean, I can't even, obviously the videos I see are, internet, the worst of the worst they find. But who thought?
Is it really as bad?
Was it a friend of Joe Biden's? Was Joe Biden's? Was it a friend of his that called up your president in the whatever you call your legislature there, and said, "Hey, let all these people in with completely opposite beliefs and cultures into Ireland, which is a culture on its own."
Yeah.
Ireland is its own culture.
It's
its own marketing machine.
Right?
I know. The only reason Ireland exists in its present day form is because it is so awesome at marketing to all the people that left during the famine 100 years ago, 200 years ago, and saying, "You got to come here and play golf in the worst weather ever. You've got to come over here and drink beer in the rain and cold. You've got to act like you're old and gritty and like, I can do it. Yes, it's home." And then they say, "Let's bring everyone from Syria here. It will be perfect. We'll be we'll be stronger if we bring people over here that don't believe or don't even know anything about marketing of Ireland." I gotta let the dog out. I have people actually telling me they're not doing the big golf trips anymore to Ireland because they can't get the tour guides that normally take them around. They can't get them because the Syrian refugees have priced them all out. They're like, we'll drive those vans out, for like $1. And so instead of a guy telling the history of Ireland and all this type of stuff, you get a guy from Syria who's essentially an Uber driver driving you around, and people aren't paying the big money for that. People are paying the big money for the story that's being told, which is a great thing. Who cares if it's true or not? Go drink the Guinness, drink the Jameson, and play golf and all this type of stuff. And in that industry in Ireland is a massive tourist industry, and it's dying because someone said, like DeFi Dude posts here, the WF and NGOs in Canada fell for it. The Democrats in the US fell for it. We could talk at length about that stuff. We could do shows about that forever. We could be up there with Timcast on Rumble with 300,000 viewers talking about that. But the point is, Ireland fucked it up. And now Dara, the Irishman, lives elsewhere. Typical.
It's
that was my side talk for that.
It's all right. I think what's interesting is that as WEF and NGOs, that's funny. Yeah. And if you guys don't know, that is World Economic Forum and what is it?
Non-governmental organization.
Yeah, non-governmental.
All those organizations the Democrats were throwing billions at through USAID, that's them.
Yeah. And it's interesting is that they can circumvent even USAID and go around the world now to many of the other places in Europe and literally still get funded. So it's going to be really...
It's really strange. Pedro, did your voice drop out there? Sorry, I stepped away to let the dog in. Oh, I think you're sitting on mute. Ooh. Oh, Pedro died again. And then Pedro's head hangs in shame. Poor Pedro. Dara, I finally ran into... I saw someone on TV the other day. And he was an Irish... He might have been a call-in to Bloomberg. He was Irish, and his name? Same as yours. Same as yours. And I was like, aha! Another Irishman with the name. There.
Can you hear me?
There we are, Mr. Pedro. We've got you on your alternate internet connection, otherwise known as your phone.
How's that? How is it having a hard time to reach? This is the part where I think, legitimately, I have to put on my conspiracy theory and go, I literally think that every time we go there, what's the next thing I talk about? DCP. It's like, dude, I swear, it's like boom.
And then he's waiting with his finger on the button. Pedro
is almost knows, dude. I swear, because I was about to bring it up. Come on,
Well, interesting story. I don't know, Pedro. While you deal with that, I'm gonna just bring one of the stories that I'm talking about. One of the things people have always feared is having an exchange seize their money due to, some bullshit excuse and say we don't trust that your funds are legitimate, and we're gonna freeze your account until we can sort it out. Because crypto exchanges are not like regulated exchanges in the U.S. where there is 100% transparency in the holding of your money, and there's all kinds of rules and this type of stuff. Exchanges in the U.S. just can't take your money and not do anything about it. Meanwhile, many of these exchanges are overseas somewhere in questionable locations or in no location at all. But Mexi is one of the larger ones. They've grown a lot recently, and they have had a lot of accounts that didn't pass their risk management get seized, and then they let sit for a year or more, and people are out $5,000, $10,000. This guy, the White Whale, if you haven't followed his thing, was out $3 million. And he's KYC'd with them too, and still they're like, sorry, you can't take your money. And so he, along with a couple other guys, started a group, Telegram group, said if you've had your money frozen by Mexi, let's start it here. Let's talk about it here and form a coalition. And they did, and they posted every day for a year and created stories and emailed them and posted and got news to talk about it, to the point where Mexi couldn't ignore it anymore. They had to go out and hire this lady, Cecilia. I'll just call her Cecilia. I'm sure that's not her real
You're
first name.
breaking my heart.
Right.
Sorry. I had to do it. Right.
And she just came out and owned it. Mexi came out and just said, yeah, we've really screwed that up. And she just posted, we effed up. We apologize to the white whale, and his money is already released. He can claim it at any time. I messed up communicating with him. I got emotional and shouldn't have. And since joining Mexi 2 months ago, I've been fighting behind the scenes to blah, blah, blah. And they talked about how, they had to get the people in Mexi to care. I don't know who the owners are of Mexi. All I know is that they're a financial group that owns a lot of crypto asset type things. And I'm sure that they're quite busy. And like most of these companies, they're understaffed. They can't handle customer service booms, past, 1 or 2 people. And when you have millions of users, you're going to get a couple of thousand inquiries a day about something. And they just can't, they can't service them. And they also can't afford to hire everybody that they need to do it. Finally, they at least got someone to address the bigger people. And then they opened up a Telegram channel, said to basically they're unlocking everyone's accounts that got frozen because their risk profile was so screwed up that they were afraid that a bank run was going to happen. And they're talking about how, the people were putting a coordinated effort in saying, look, if they've taken my money, $3 million, and the other guy's like, and they took my money, $5,000, and we're all KYC'd people with them. We're not, coming in from a Russian IP address. They can take yours. So people started taking their money out. And a couple of $1 billion, or not $1 billion, a couple of $1 million every hour was coming out from these accounts. And you may not think that's a lot, but all day, every day for a month, and suddenly that's a lot of money. And Mexi stepped up and said, we screwed up. Finally hired someone in PR to come in and sort this thing out. They unlocked everyone's accounts, and now they're back at it. Interesting story, and listening to the white whale over time plead his case. Because before talking about it, I went back and read the thread. Really interesting about how finally a group of people stood up to these offshore groups. And I frankly, I see it. A smart congressman would use this story as a way to say, hey, we need to onshore some of these exchanges like Mexi and say, here, open up Mexi USA, follow our rules, and we'll let you come in and be normal. And people like Binance would come back too, and all this type of stuff. Anyway, I thought that was a very interesting story about something we all worry about as exchanges just taking your money. And then the people rising up, throwing the tea into the sea and saying, nope, we can't stand for that. We're going to bring you down.
Bro,
instead of coming down, they stepped up.
I'm so sorry. I have to, bro.
Go work on your internet connection there, Pedro. I'll handle it for now.
Can you hear me? Okay. No, I'm excited. I'm good. I'm gonna have to show you after the show. This is.
I do have you back.
Yes. All right. So the other part that I'm excited about is that it looks like Bitfinex has switched up finally their charts back to its original. They wanted to what they were doing in the past, which I'm really
maybe the daylight savings time changed. Maybe their Bitfinex, they might be in a location that doesn't have any time changes, so their UTC clock doesn't move.
That's exactly.
That's probably what it is. All right, Pedro. This is the time listed for the top of the hour commercial break. We're gonna skip that for now, but just re-rack the top of the show here, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching DYOR live here on the DYOR Media Network. As always, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking here in the digital media world. hosting this show here along with my co-host, Mr. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. We've been talking about the Bitcoin pummeling going on past 20 hours or so, coming down. It's recovered a little bit. As you can see, it's back up to in the 107s. Got as low as the high 105s here earlier today. But Pedro and I were very happy to see the beginning, when the beginning of the month starts with some kind of move, big up or big down. That's good because we know that there's probably a big move on the end of the month, and it allows some volatility in the month instead of just a boring old consolidation month. It means we'll have ample opportunities for trading. Anyways, the show is here pretty much every day. Please join us. Put us on your rotation for coming and watching it. We've got a new app coming out soon. TradeWave right here. It's being in beta right now, demoed out there. What it does is it tracks prices and all that for crypto, but you can get that information anywhere. It doesn't matter. We don't need to make an app to do that. What the TradeWave app does is it tracks the trades that Pedro and I say that we're looking for. And you can see over here it has a couple of trades, an ICP trade saying that to go long at 2, an Ethereum trade to go long at 3,300, BNB to go long at 950, Aster to go long at 85 cents, and Meta to go long at 580, along with the reasons why and what to do with it. And we believe that a bunch of you people will end up likely to pay us for this information to have access to the app, so you can make little monies on what we talk about on the show here. Other than that,
time. That's what it's been. It's the
time. Pedro has just solved one of his big problems with one of the charts he likes to use.
No.
Hell, I didn't even understand it for a while.
All of them. They're all synced now. It has to do with the freaking hour change, bro.
Bro.
Oh.
Bro.
Bruh.
Daylight savings screws up Pedro once again.
Dude,
You could probably go back and track this on our show. Every time that you complain about it is right at the time change in March and November.
Correlation, dude. I'm like, they're moving the charts, man. Why are they? Because timing is everything in the market. Timing is everything. It is sequential, and so when I'm trading, it's all based off of wicks and bodies being created. So, like, as an example, look at this 4-hour XRP candle. Look, we have a very baby wick, right? It's a lot smaller than all the other wicks, except for overnight. Okay, overnight's different. But you can see here that we've had, like, and this is the weekend here, right? But anytime you start to see that baby wick, what happens, right? Like, price will come back down and pick that up. And so I'm expecting this to go up, tap, hit that 8-period moving average, boom, and then see it come down. And now here's the thing. Half the people who are listening to me right now are literally thinking, oh, dude, just care if we get to the price. But I'm literally giving you gold right now. Literally giving you gold here. And so I am trying to help you. Like, that's how important this is. This is why, like, I will not trade off of other organizations because of that. It's very frustrating for me. If they are able to do this, if we can do this, that means that this market should be pumping. We should see a sell-off, not pumping. We're most likely going to see a common tap, and so now everything's good. So let's pull this up here real quick. XRP, nice little right here. Alrighty, and we're gonna come right. This is so awesome, dude. I get it now. I am so stoked. In Canada, do they have daylight savings time as well?
Yeah, it's the same as the U.S. They just mirror what happens in the U.S. and there's some political will to say we shouldn't just do what the U.S. does, and then the whole economic engine of the North America opens up and says, let's all stay on the same time, you morons. Although part of Canada does the old half-hour difference thing, and it just they're like parts of the Maritimes. I don't know where it is. They're 30 minutes different. 30 minutes in the future, and so you're just like, come on, guys, let's.
There's always a place where I can literally not have to worry about that. Like if I move down to is South America the same way?
There's like 2 or 3 counties in Indiana, in Tennessee and Kentucky that are right on the Eastern Time Zone border that don't do daylight savings.
Ever?
No, because they're too far west in the Eastern Time Zone. So if they turn their clocks back, it's daylight until 10:30 at night. Like right just west of here, east of here in Chicago, in northern Indiana. They would rather when they're on Eastern Time in Indiana, but they're like, let's stay on Chicago time for daylight savings time, and that's like when you hear one of my pet peeves is when people say our show's at 8 p.m. EST, but it's daylight savings time. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, dude, that's standard time. You mean daylight time, right? I'm like, oh, it's just EST, whatever, it doesn't matter. No, there's all these counties in the US that right along the Eastern Time Zone that stay on EST. And so, when you get a meeting appointment that says EST, they're going to be an hour off. It drives me crazy. But
all right,
your computers don't get screwed up.
So my question is this period right now, this time change right here, right, is the perfect time change. This is what I love. Like, I didn't realize this. So when I'm trading, where could I go where I don't have, right, like where my chart see here real quick, this will actually be the that's not gonna work. Sad. Okay, all that for nothing. Yeah, that ain't gonna work. All right, next. Let me see if 2 hour would be working. Nope. Okay. My main bread and butter is on the ES, so but for crypto, the crypto exchanges do play off of this. So if I wanted to trade crypto, which sooner or later is going to be international, and we're going to have plenty of volume. We have good volume now, but it's going to be phenomenal, like point by point liquidity versus liquidity. Like so point by point liquidity is when there's liquidity on every single point, and so I can easily get in and easily get out. And so as crypto becomes more and more liquid, there will be data providers that will provide real liquidity on every price point, right? And so there'll be plenty of people like Sailor will get paid to offer liquidity, right? Because he has such a huge amount, and he will get paid a lot of money just to offer liquidity for Bitcoin, because exchanges want to keep the flow of buying and selling going up and down, and so they will look for people because they know they will win in the long run. If you ever have that feeling where like as everybody knows, I basically sit like a squat, like I'm squatting right now, right? And so sometimes when I work out, usually I'm a very thick person. I have a lot of muscle, especially my legs. I got thunder thighs, thunder calves, right? Like that's real. If ever you meet me, like my wrist is like for my height, it's very thick and very wide. The reason I'm saying that is I'm sitting right here and I moved forward a little, and I started feeling my calves start to like, that feeling of like, it's like, oh, we're chilling, and all of a sudden goes,
and here I thought you had just switched to the bathroom.
No.
I know, that was terrible, wasn't it?
It's all good. But anyways, I look forward to when the market. I don't expect the TradFi to play nice with, or actually, not TradFi, but TradingView play nice with me because whatever reason why they're not willing to go ahead and give us the data where we want, but they do.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what Pedro sits on when he's watching the show. The hippity hop ball.
Hippity, dude. No, it's not what I said.
No, that's what I said. I was at your trading desk, Pedro. It's a red thing with a handle and it's got hearts on it, and candy canes.
Busting my balls over here. I do. I actually you forgot. It's bright. It's not just turquoise. It's bright turquoise. And I write little loves, notes to myself, like, you're beautiful and dark guarded people like you. I'm saying every morning, I have my, you're gonna make something of yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the entertainment you get here on the DYOR Live show.
Yeah, we're just being goofballs. All right, so
thank you to our Twitch viewers. Really quickly, anticipated duel, best scammers. These advertising, good for you. Thank you for the engagement. And Angela Carter 22. Hi, man, my headphones are broken, so you can reply to me in chat. Yeah, right. Thanks, Chinese bot. No, appreciate it. And of course I missed Dara's Highlander reference. There can be only one. There's just no greater movie than Highlander. According to Ricky Bobby, won the Oscar Academy Awards for greatest movie of all time.
Yes.
I watched this movie Highlander. It was shit. It's great, Ricky Bobby line.
Ricky Bobby.
It was shit.
Listen, the only
Highlander. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, if you're not first, you're last. Just saying. Just saying.
Wait, later.
Baby Jesus.
What do you mean? Dad, I lived my life around that. What do you mean first? You can be second. You can be third. Hell, you can be fifth. I lived my whole life around that. If you're not first, you're last. Shit, I must have been high. Hell, you can be fifth.
On Friday, I didn't realize this, but Bessent, Treasury Secretary Bessent, says 17 years after the white paper, the Bitcoin network is still operational and more resilient than ever. Bitcoin never shuts down. And I sat there and I was like, holy crap, the Treasury of the United States is literally giving daps, like shout out, like kudos. What do the kids now call it? I forget. There's all these new names, right? Riz, giving Riz. No, Riz is charisma, like flirtation. Yeah, I guess we can use it that way. Giving Riz to Bitcoin network. That's so crazy. Like I was looking at the going like, wow. And then the fact is that less than 7% who basically have some money in Bitcoin. Majority of the people just barely have a small amount of Bitcoin, right? And they just let it. They don't actually consistently invest. It's a very, very small amount of people who consistently invest into Bitcoin, right? And so it's just one of those things that to watch that and go, kind of stand in amazement. Like I always tell everybody, look, like I'm looking like right now we're about to come down to it. So I'm kind of happy finally. Let's go. Any company that is becoming a treasury, okay? I'm looking for, obviously Crow is now Trump's treasury. I don't think World Liberty Financial, there we go. World Liberty Financial. My brain had to have a ADD moment there for a second, a little. And I flip things around. Anyways, what I found interesting is that in the midst of Crow kind of selling off, right, and all of this, they're looking to drop this even further down into this level here. So if this thing comes back down to that 11 and 9 cent area, man, I again, that's where we saw the pop from, right? I think we could see a major jump in this. So I'm gonna, like, again, this is a play here that I'm looking to play off of. And this isn't, if you want to capture this, if you want to trade this on the perpetuals, I'm looking at that level of 9, or the 0.09 area here, or it's 9.4 is really what I'm looking at. So if this thing comes down to there, I think we could see a major buy at that level, and then from there, probably see a potential 2 or 3 cent rally out of that. If we keep playing the way we're playing here, like we're just literally selling off.
Wait, Crow's at 13 cents?
Yeah.
What was it? Wasn't it just at 40?
Yes. 39. Yeah, that's what it ran to.
I'm going to refill the old coffee here, Pedro. I will be right. I'm listening to you. I'm just off screen for a second.
That's right. That's right. So I'm looking at this play here as a liquidity point, or liquidity area, to take part in this trade here, so I can make some money. And as it comes down, we also have that 11 cent area, which is, yeah, we'll see. We could see a reaction there as well. Yeah, it's a monthly or a weekly area. But I'm kind of looking to see, I want to capture some of this here as it comes down. And it'll be cool. It shall be cool. The fact is that we don't have any demand wicks or supply wicks as we're coming up into this level. So again, if we continue this movement coming down, I think we very much could come and see it tap into that. I mean, realistically, 17% or 17 cent area. So we're talking, I mean, that could be what's it, 4 point, at least 50-60% jump all the way up to there. That would be nice. No, that'd be more than, what is that? Trying to do the math in my head. Either way, it'd be a nice little play there. So I'm kind of looking at that as a quick little play. Again, this is not going to be something I hold indefinitely. I'm just one of those things I want to play so it comes down into that level and then be able to play it off.
What do you think the nuke was here? Just going down with the altcoins, or because WLFI also sold off like crazy? They pulled some big money came out of that thing.
I think it's both. I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's both. I mean, obviously, like in life, it's still small little details, and people might be losing confidence in it. And so if you want to trade this on, you can trade on Bybit for the perpetual. So it could be just that. Again, any company that is looking to be a debt instrument as a treasury, I'm looking to purchase those, because honestly, those will become a valued asset down the road. Again, I'm not really looking to make a ton of money on it. It's going to be a store of value, just like how we look at Michael Saylor as a treasury for Bitcoin, and you have the NEC and a lot of other institutions making Ethereum, which I'm picking up Ethereum as well. As just pick up these coins, because ultimately I'm looking at really what is going to stick around, right? And I want to see a large institution that is potentially going to be a juggernaut in the future, right? Like I'm looking at 10, 15, 20 years down the road here by what's actually happening. So there's a few other ones, but the ones that are kind of in the mainstream with the spotlight on is obviously Crow with Trump organization, or I shouldn't call it Trump organization, but what is it? The World Liberty Financial is playing with Crow. We're watching a lot of people play with Bitcoin as a debt instrument, as well as Ethereum. I haven't heard much of BNB becoming one. I don't know if you've heard anything, but I haven't. So,
I mean, I think it's because everybody knows that Binance is essentially a treasury company for BNB.
yeah, probably.
I mean,
actually, good. Yeah. Absolutely.
WLFI. Let's bring up that chart here. World Liberty down 10% today, which is already down a lot, but it's been as high as 22 cents. Still $3.3 billion market cap.
That's definitely coming down. This is one I'm also going to be looking to pick up. I think potentially down the road, this could be dare I say, like a Goldman Sachs coin, right? A lot of these are going to tokenize their stuff, and so I look at, I bought a little, but really what I'm looking for is like that lower price here. If we could see it come down to at least a 10 to 7 cent area, let's look at that as an area of potential buying area. We'll see some liquidity come in. Key point is this, is I'm going to be extremely bullish once WLFI really starts to put in some volume coming in on the buy side. And so we'll see what happens here. But I want to see volume to come in on that weekly and monthly area here. I think they're not going to want to buy it until we come down into that 7 cent, 8 cent area, where we'll start to see more demand wicks get placed in on the daily and on the smaller time frames. Right, you can see as we're pushing up that there wasn't really any demand wicks, more supply wicks that are larger, right? And so that's why I was expecting to come down into those lower levels. What happened? I had one that had, is it this? Nope. I know I had done it. Definitely, I can't figure where I had it, but we had definitely World Liberty Financial. USD maybe. Where was USD? Man, this one is really gone. I wonder if Gemini bought a ton of WLFI. They didn't let it sell off as hard as it was. This is looking different than a lot of the other ones. Interesting. It's interesting.
Who's the exit liquidity for
on the Gemini?
For Eric and Don Jr. here? I mean, who did they take Crow's money essentially and just say, "Oh, look, this is how much it's worth"?
No, because I don't think that's what would happen. I think because why would they create a treasury? That's my thing. Is why would they create the treasury? I think if they were doing it, I think they wouldn't have come out. Trump would not have come out and literally said, "Yeah, we're having an agreement with them." Right, with their betting site, with everything with their prediction site. Like, it's just stupid not wanting to go through and do that. So if anything, they might be just trying to, in all reality, maybe suppress the price so they can pick up more. Because there's no point to them even, holding hands and skipping together with crow.com. It just makes no sense to me. So, like, if anything, they're dropping it to pick up more so that they can, and that's a good point too. That's a good point too. But here's my problem with all this treasury talk bullshit. And Dara, if I'm correct, you're in the finance industry, right? I think, isn't DeFi dude some kind of finance industry of some sort? Maybe confusing it with something else. But anyway, somebody comes to me and says, "Oh, we're going to be a treasury company," or something like that. I'm going to look at them and go, "You're full of shit."
Maybe in Bitcoin if they have serious money and that type of stuff. I mean, like I said earlier, I didn't even understand what they were talking about until Saylor went through it in detail. I was like, oh, now I get it. But only Strategy, which has a whole crap load of Bitcoin, and a plan, and an actual plan for developing products around this. And not only that, but they also have the weight. They have time on their side. They're not under pressure for quarterly results. Michael Saylor's like, whatever, we're cruising. We got billions. All these other companies that come out and say, oh, we're going to be a Bitcoin treasury, we're going to be a Bitcoin treasury. We saw Galaxy Digital famously buy, billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. And then as soon as the price went down a little bit, they sold it. They're like, whoops. Whoops, goofed that one up. And they don't have, those are companies, they don't have a plan. They're not just sitting there saying, okay, we're going to be part of this. No, does anyone see a future in which the settlement layer is Crow or WLFI?
No, that's not what I think of.
Can it be one of the other things that trades along with it? Yeah, of course.
That's yes.
But is it something to bet the future of your company on now? No, you got to have a plan. In order for that to be in place, Bitcoin already has to be a settlement layer for a whole bunch of all these debt and equities. Then you can plug other things in it as needed. And that could be years away. And so when they're saying we're a treasury company now, it's just what's the trending words on YouTube? Beep. Let's use that.
Yeah.
So when just looking at this chart today, I didn't realize how much the price of Crow and WFI had come down. And I was like, oh, someone's exit liquidity got taken there. But like you said, clears out the liquidity down low also. Room to go back up quickly, huh?
Yeah. And so that's really what I'm looking at. And also on the back end, watching this, I don't think, they may even sell off now. I don't see Eric Trump just rolling over and just being like, all right, well, we were wrong in this, right? I mean, I think he's very much a left being. I don't know, the Trump family. I don't know Eric. I know he's gone under a lot of flack regarding being exit liquidity. He's been a couple times where he's come out and said, oh, Bitcoin to the moon. And then you see a huge sell-off, right? So, Ethereum to the moon, right? And then all of a sudden you see a huge sell-off. On the back end, I don't expect their organization, short term, sell off, but long term, I can't see it. And I think very much Crow.com has the infrastructure to develop product.
Sure.
It's not like they're not. I gotta take that. I'll be back in a second.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Dara says, yep, he's in finance. So if you hear a lot of people talk smack in finance. Oh, we got this. They got this is the new greatest thing ever, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we got the snake oil. This is the best snake oil ever. And this treasury stuff is the snake oil stuff to me. And what's the topic, Dara, when someone is pitching you something that you just know instantly? Scamarundo. What topics pique your interest? I didn't realize how much treasury companies. That's kind of a made-up media name, and then all these companies. Yeah, but when Galaxy Digital said, "Oh, we're gonna be a treasury company," and then just last week I read a story about a car company. Just said, "Screw it, we're switching to be a treasury company." Like their whole business was making these cars. They were tooling up for it. Then they're like, "Screw it, enough of that. We're done. We're gonna be a treasury company." I was like, "That's a scam." Scam Amundo. All right, we're gonna take Pedro's screen off there as he takes his phone call.
I'm good.
Oh, you're back? He's back.
Yeah. Man, Don is just getting murdered. Murder, she wrote.
The open network and not so open.
Yeah, they are getting murdered.
Back to $2.
Yeah. Came all the way
$5
down.
billion market cap.
The thing is, you can't do anything with it now, right? Like, can you still use this?
I haven't heard doodly squat. But that's a technical term there that Pedro uses all the time there, technical analysis. Doodly squat. Actually, that's my term.
I was gonna say
It's ever since Pavel, or whatever his name is, got arrested by the French, it was like the buzz around the open network, it just died. It died like when you go to Europe, where innovation goes to die. That's right. Exactly what happened. Pavel said, I'm going to go to France, and then he got arrested. And it was like, Patrick McHenry told you, that's where you go to die. And it hasn't done squat since then. We haven't heard about it. The meme coin craze that was going on, it died. I've got like $400 stuck in some Ton wallet that through Telegram that I can't even get out of it.
Pretty much. I'm actually really kind of looking forward also to DOT coming down. So we're already seeing the sell-off happen. And I want to see it come back down to these lower levels so that I can pick up DOT. Oh yes. That's funny. We all could be wrong. Absolutely wrong. And they're just basically siphoning all of crypto to go and actually establish, a TradFi position.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like it very much could be.
We scammed the whole crypto market, and we just bought 10-year treasuries. We bought muni bonds, tax-free muni bonds, because we're located in New Jersey with 17% tax. So we get all that back for free.
Right. Like,
Pedro, I was on that. I said I was going to do a story about it, and I haven't yet. But I've got a guy I want to reach out to and get on the show.
Yeah.
About municipal bonds. You think they're the most boring things in the history of the earth?
Oh, in the world.
For people that live in California, New York, and New Jersey, they're throwing money into municipal bonds because they can get 10 to 12% effective rates because a lot of the municipal bonds are tax-free. A lot of them fall out of the alternative minimum tax that these states have. So they can get, in Texas or in Florida would be like 6% return on investment. But because they don't have to pay the state income tax on it, which in New Jersey can be massive, it's an effective rate at like 10 or 11% on tax-free municipal bonds. Then back in the day, you'd be like, I got 2%, I'm happy. You know what? And it's crazy. It's crazy. And the guys that had led the boring life selling the muni bonds, whenever Ohio wanted to build some more roads, are suddenly like, they're the man. The people are calling them like, can you appear on our show? Oh my God, we want to give you $5 billion. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts. It means there's an imbalance in the market and in the market and in tax structure.
It's interesting to see what happens. 10%, there's no way that they're going to be able to keep that up. There's just no way. You know what I'm saying? And how long, are we talking, are these notes? Are these like bonds? Or are these 10-year, 20-year bonds?
You know what? I don't know what the time frames on them. They're definitely not 20 and 30-year bonds, but they're in the states are paying it. The states are putting out bonds at 4% municipal bonds that they're going to pay on it. People get 4 to 8% tax breaks on it. Adds up really quickly. And the states are doing it because their costs have gone up so high. Their labor costs, they all caved into the unions and gave everyone 10 million% raises and huge cost of living raises. And infrastructure is huge labor expense. And so municipal bond rates gone up to pay for it.
It's actually kind of exciting to see because this reminds me back in the 70s, right? Like
Oh yeah, there's a paid campaign right now talking about how similar things are going on now as they were in the 70s on social media. So people are like, we don't want to go back. Look what happened in the 70s. Blah, 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 blah. And this type of stuff. And it was such a different market back then that you can't just look at a graph and say, well, see, this happened there in the 70s, so it's the same now. The economy is so different. The way people borrow money is different. The way the U.S. government borrows money is different. The whole thing is different and not even sort of the same. Did you also know?
Because
well, I mean, we were paying 17% interest rates on things, but people still bought housing. And now we're like, interest rates are at 6%, and people are like, oh my God, the world is ending. We can't afford housing. It's like, well,
I think it's
my parents paid 17%.
Yeah, I hear you. But also, we had just jumped off of the gold standard. And additionally to that, the dollar had not inflated almost 99.9%. It was maybe, I think, 12% inflated. So your dollar could purchase a dramatic amount more. When you look at the difference between our parents, right, who bought houses in the 70s versus our age when we bought houses, right, versus this generation that buys houses, you're literally seeing a major difference of $1 being spent on a house versus so that $1 you were able to buy a $17,000 to $20,000 house. Okay, now that same dollar, right, has been inflated so much where the debt itself it's like $1 being thrown at a house that is $100,000, $150,000. And I know you're like, wait, how does that, what do you mean? Because we were just taken off of the gold standard with Nixon. When that happened, right, we had a liquidity squeeze in the market, so they needed liquidity to come in. So that's why interest rates went up. And additionally to that, you also saw a huge influx of muni bonds, money that would come in because you wanted to stay in front almost of inflation. And so there's a lot of it's not like it's a different thing. Your dollars can't buy as much as what it used to, and so it's hard to sit there and say that. Like I don't get, and that is literally also the same period we're living in right now. Whereas like the U.S. dollar, like gold, which was our standard, the U.S. dollar has become the standard, and now the rest of the world is pulling back and saying, "Hey, guess what? We don't really want to use the U.S. dollar anymore. We're looking either to go to gold or potentially Bitcoin." Now, this isn't going to happen overnight, but this is happening much quicker. We've got 10 years to get our stuff together. Actually, we got 5 years, 5 to 4 years, and then the world knows it's far gone. The thought of America being a supremacy or a strong nation again, because by that point, after 5 years, it's a moot point unless we can outproduce through AI and robotics. That's our only saving grace, because he isn't trying to produce manufacturing jobs yet. We're not seeing a ton of manufacturing jobs come in. So this is where, again, it's kind of similar to the 70s in that sense. Different circumstances, but if you look at the large environment at large, it's very similar.
Just as long as we don't have the haircuts and the bell-bottom jeans.
Actually, it was funny. I was in the church and I saw one of our worship leaders was wearing bell-bottom jeans, but it was more of like she was wearing, instead of like just the bottom part, it was the full like leg, like was a full-on thing. So I was like, I literally thought to myself,
that's a new phase that I've explained to Mrs. Striking that it's not attractive. Like those pants, no.
But I mean, I don't care, man. I mean, as long as the girl or person is cool.
It's like, hey, you want to wear this canvas sack? It's straight with no curves. Just feels the same thing. I saw a Leonard Skinner video yesterday in which they were talking about, there was a guitar solo video, and talking about this one famous guitar solo from whatever event in the 1972. And the dude that was doing the guitar solo is from the waist to his knees, where the jeans were basically painted on, like 70s style, skinny, crack addict looking dude. And then from the knee down to the floor, the flare was so big you could wear dump trucks for shoes, and the jeans would hide it. They were so epic. I was like, thank God that era is gone. But I still listen to all the music from that era, though. That's for sure. I'm stuck in it. Ladies and gentlemen, there's only a little bit left in our show here today, another 15 minutes. If you could ask us some questions, let's just do a little bit of social media here right now. Mr. Pedro, Dara revisits the my software company is failing. I'll just buy Bitcoin with leverage. I'm a genius in a treasury company. That works all the time. Crypto Unicorn says WLFI blows balls. Unicorn let it rip is what I say.
It's a funny how that all it like reminds me of one singular person.
Can't believe it.
I know, it's kind of amazing that that
it really is amazing. Wink, wink, wink.
How these guys. I feel like I'm hearing like a. That's what I want to use.
An echo?
Yeah. Oh, what is up? You have. There we go. Alrighty. Yes. So, real interesting. Shiba Inu coming back down to our lower area here.
Shib.
Shibaroo, Shiba long stocking. We've actually stopped saying this. Joe Rogan, Donald Trump, the Swifties. What's her name? Taylor Swift.
Yeah, exactly. Right? What's her name? Although I found myself listening to one of her songs the other day, and I was very upset at myself. I guess Mrs. Striking was playing a station here. I can't remember if it was here or in the car. And all of a sudden, I'm like, she says some song in which she talks about New York and stuff, and I'm like, hey, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, damn it, I'm listening to Taylor Swift.
She's catchy. She's catchy.
And you don't get to be the world's biggest pop star without having some decent music.
Yeah, well, I'm not opposed to her. It's going to be really interesting because her husband, or soon-to-be husband, right? He's more conservative. So it's going to be really interesting to see if she becomes more conservative. And especially like he seems like a very traditional man, right? And I think he's not a pushover dude.
I don't think she's going to get too conservative until she starts digging into her tax bills. And then she'll all of a sudden she'll be like, although she's based out of Tennessee, so she's got no state tax. The Tour is, I'm sure, as a company, based in Texas or Tennessee also, takes advantage of their lower taxes. But you'll see. You'll know when she switches, when all of a sudden she's in the middle of a song and she says that her new song is called Tax Policy. I paid 12% in New Jersey, now I pay 0 in Florida.
Or she maybe might, starts raising her kids conservative. Her views. You mean
the nannies that will be raising the kids?
I don't know. We'll see what happens, though. I think it's going to be really interesting because I don't see her husband allowing that. He seems very, very traditional.
I don't think he's going to have a choice, my friend. He's going to be not making any money here in another year or two.
Yeah.
As with the NFL career, the average lifespan is 1.57 years in the NFL, and he's already at year 5. He's already exceeded the odds, or whatever. I don't know how long he's been in the NFL, but it's already way past the average. So it's not going to be long for him before he's done, and he'll have no income. And he'll probably want to invest in some bad restaurants or car dealership deals like many of his friends did, lost all their money. And so she's going to be the breadwinner. And She's had her way since she was basically 14 years old. And you think this guy's going to step in and be like, honey, I think we should do this. And she's going to be like, no, I'm going on tour. See ya.
Well, we forget. She was raised and she started in the Christian world, in the church. I mean, just saying. And she does have, fairly, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I could see her leaning more conservative in the future. I do. And I mean, she's made, money to her doesn't matter anymore. I mean, she's at that point. I wonder, how much is Taylor Swift worth? I'm really curious about that.
I would use the term a shit ton. I've told you that story about her dad and the tour bus. I mean, she's been at it. Oh, Pedro just got a big number.
She's worth 1.6 billion to 2.4 billion. Her 2025 album, The Life of a Showgirl, reportedly earned 135 million in its first week alone, pushing her net worth to $1.6 billion. Ownership of her masters via the Taylor version, and I have to admit, sometimes I go to the movies on the weekend, and I remember going to the movies when she had her tour, right? And she was doing it so all these little girls were literally little girls to teenage girls going to her whole entire movie thing where you could be a part. And it was funny is I heard one mom say, this is our 4th time doing this, right? Because their girls would she was saying my girls won't stop talking about this. That's all that they want. They ask us every single week, can we go? Can we go? Can we go? And I literally thought to myself, they're paying $16, or for kids, it might be $8, I forgot. So $8 for kids to go view this, plus the adults who go.
Wait, $8 for a Taylor Swift concert?
No, so she broadcasted.
Oh yes, I know. Right.
Remember that movie thing? It was her, and you can go watch her and stuff like that in the movies. And so they, and literally these kids, these little girls and teenage girls went multiple times to watch her do this movie. And she was talking to him hey, little girl. Actually, I don't know because I didn't watch it. But I'm assuming that it was one of those things that I literally thought to myself, she's brilliant for that. I literally thought to myself, if I was to do something, if I was to become a rap star or whatever, right, which will never happen, and maybe some slam poetry, but I even doubt that.
Slam poetry,
baby, I love it. But in the same sense, if I got large enough, that's how I would do it. Joe Rogan, if Joe Rogan was to sit there and say, all right guys, I'm gonna do this thing, and I'm gonna get this out, right? And it was legitly funny, and he wanted to do it in the movie theater, I'd go watch it, straight up, all right. Or let's say if who's something that you would go if they were releasing something on a movie sense?
Donut Operator, and Brandon Herrera, and a couple other guys, big YouTubers and stuff like that. They do a podcast called the Unsubscribed Podcast, and they'd say, don't listen to us. People listen to them by the millions. And they took it on the road. They do it live. They go to theaters in every city and they do it live. And people pay crazy amounts of money to go sit in those first couple of rows, and so they can see them closely and stuff like that. And they pack every theater that they go to. And they just make nothing but cash monies. They go in, they get a theater, they put 2 card tables up and get 4 chairs around it, and get their guys hook up the microphone system. No flashy lights or expensive roadies or anything like that. They show up with card tables and talk and make tons of money, and it's genius.
It really is. it's just one of those things. But she was literally doing a TV, like, it's not a TV show. I don't know how to explain it. It was crazy. But she now makes sense. I literally thought, I was like, how is she? But plus her endorsement she makes, right? Obviously, like she's at a point. I mean, once you reach that $1 billion mark, now she's worth 2. You're done. Like, her family's done. She's done. If she was to piss off a bunch of people, like it, and then walk away, she would still have $1 billion. Like, people think, like, what's his name?
A lot of money.
Yeah, like, I mean, 10%, or let's say you get 2%, right, off of that, dude. She's making $10 million a year off of that, yearly. Like, that's $800,000 a year, or excuse me, $800,000. Yeah,
a month.
Yeah, a month. Sorry, $800,000 a month. That is crazy. Like, that amount, the amount of money that and that's 1%. And they're not. She's making much more than 1% off.
And she's growing the company. It'll be worth, because she bought back the rights to all of her songs, so she owns her catalog now.
Yep.
She'll go on tour and do another one of those big money things. She'll produce other things for people now. Her company, there'll be movies, there'll be theme parks, They'll buy an island. Next thing you know, part of Hawaii is called Swifty Island, and there's a cruise line that goes to it. And next thing you know, it's a $10 billion a year company.
15 billion. Yeah, she's not dumb. She's definitely not dumb, and it's impressive to see what she's built. From Kanye West, from coming in and saying, "This ain't for you." Remember that moment? Like, if that never happened, nobody would know who she is.
Oh, she was already hugely famous before that.
No, I'd never heard of her. Nobody. Maybe with the younger
That was only
girls.
a few years ago. I mean, she was massively popular. She's been on the touring for 15 years, Pedro. She's been touring for 15 years.
When did Kanye West come and...
What, 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
No, bro. When Beyonce, he went up there and said Beyonce should be the artist of the year, and Kanye West came up there and said, "All due respect."
Yeah, no, I remember it, and everyone was like, "Sit down, Kanye." And note, you haven't heard from Kanye since then.
No, what are you talking? He after that went on to still build a ton of stuff, and that's when he had Kim Kardashian. Okay, I think you're getting old, and maybe time lapses a little bit different. We're talking, this was probably 15 years ago.
No.
Yeah, but when did, how do you spell his name? Kanye West. In West. Interrupt.
Shit, it was 2009.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was saying. It was like 15 years, dog. Like he only fell out.
I'm thinking it's during COVID.
Oh no. If that had not happened, she would have been Artist of the Year. Okay. Then she would have, maybe, I mean, not to say that, but she would not have hit that. That put her on. I literally thought, Kanye, sit down. WTF, bro? Like, what are you doing? I went out and checked her stuff out at that, because I was like, who's Taylor Swift? Right? And why is Kanye being a douche to her? And she actually just had good old country music. Like, she was actually really fairly good. She was fairly conservative. So, like, I was like, oh, I hope she does well. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then she wasn't a victim. She didn't sit there and play victimhood. She was like, well, he believed what he believed. Boom. And I was like, respect. And then, she went from like country music to like, pop music. And I remember just being like, I don't like, because I'm not much into pop music. So, but I was like, well, I hope it goes well for her. you know, like we'll see what happens. And then she blew up, like exploded. And then, you know, but if that had never happened, I don't think she would be who she is. Like Kanye West made her with that.
I don't think so, because when she was on America's Got Talent, she played her guitar and sang a song there. That was obviously before that by a couple of years, and she was already touring. Because when I started my company, let's see, I guess I started in 2008, and I first started interacting with her people. She was already touring.
So you actually had a. Go ahead.
No, I mean she was already touring back then.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I gotta go get my Geritol. I gotta go. Younger people don't even know what that means. It's basically your vitamin supplements for old geezers that are falling apart.
It's all good. It's all right. But what I think is interesting is just.
Oh, you know what I'm thinking of, Pedro? I'm thinking of when Will Smith cracked Chris Rock in the head a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, that's totally different.
That's what I was thinking of. I'm like,
completely different. Yeah.
And then I'm picturing it in the scene, and like Jada Smith sitting in the audience, like, it. That's.
Oh man, that was.
I was like,
that dude.
How do I get that screwed up? And I'm like, and I was like, oh yeah, the Will Smith Chris Rock thing was a couple of years ago.
That was epic. That was absolutely epic. Like I look at that, I'm like, keep my mouth out of your. I would
keep my wife's name out of your mouth.
Yeah, and I would have been like, dude, if I was Chris Rock, I was like, you've already been hit. I would have been like, really? Well, that's what she said to me, you know. Bro,
Will would have freaked out.
Bro, I would have been like, now we got Mr. Tough Man want to defend his wife when his wife is playing fun with other people. Like I would have been.
I had to deal.
I would have played.
I had to deal with Will Smith's security people, Pedro, and they were like the Secret Service agents that worked for the Clintons. They hated it. They're like, it's just a paycheck, man. It's the worst job you've ever had in your life, and it was nothing but misery. They said the main guy I'm still good friends with to this day that hasn't worked for him since way back then. He said it's nothing but torture working for the two of them, especially the wife. And when you harass the security, I've dealt with this for ages. I spent 30 years listening to security people talk about who they work for, and when they glow about someone and they're like, they're the nicest people, like what the Secret Service, and this, I'm not telling anything secret, these are all in books now. The Secret Service guys that worked for President Bush, both of them.
Oh no, he was cool.
Yeah, they're like, he's the nicest guy. He remembered our names, would come talk to us. And then his son, when he became president, he remembered us and asked, remembered our wives' names and things like that. And then the guys that worked for the Clintons, like Rumble co-person Rumble, Dan Bongino, now assistant director of the FBI. He was assigned to Hillary Clinton for a while, and all of those guys, they were like, they thought we were baggage handlers.
Yeah, they absolutely. It was funny. I have a friend of mine. It was 2007. I was going up to my friend's premiere up in the Northeast. At that time, it was it's like a festival. It was a film festival, and so I was hungry, and so I stopped by at this just local deli around that area. Pulled off the road, boom, and as I walked in to go grab, like I was looking for just like a sub, a little hoagie, and so I'm looking at, and it's a straight up deli. I mean, old fashioned, like Italian deli up in the like Massachusetts area. And so I was like, you're out of nowhere, bro. I go, what made you decide to build this up? And he goes, well, I'm Italian, obviously. And I said, yeah. And he just straight up told me. I was like, what'd you do before this? He goes, oh, I retired out of the government. And at the time I was in the Coast Guard. And I was like, oh, what'd you do in the government? He goes, if I tell it, I have to kill you. And I was like, oh, CIA, gotcha. And he starts laughing. And so he's just, and I was like, were you like FBI or CIA, or were you like high-ranking military where you don't have a name, right? Those the guys. He goes, no, you're right. Yeah, I'm FBI, and or not FBI, CIA. And I was like, oh, that's dope. I go, nobody's here, and this is before really you got smartphones, right? And so I asked him. I was like, you mind me asking, like, where are you? What's the craziest thing you've ever seen? Or things, or you look back and you just thought was like crazy. He goes, Hillary Clinton. And I go, what? I go, what? And this is back in 2007. And he goes, Hillary Clinton. And I look at him, I'm like, okay. And this is before like being gay and like all that stuff was remotely acceptable, right? It was still very taboo. This is when don't ask, don't tell was still in the military, right? Like these at the time. And he goes, oh, she is a muncher. And I go, what? I go, what? He goes, man, you would literally, like, there would be women that would be brought in. And like, he was like saying, she is absolutely like all this stuff. And I was like, Hillary Clinton? Huh. I go, her and Bill, after the whole entire circumstance. He goes, no, it stems all the way back when he was governor of Arkansas, right?
And now we know why Bill had a free hand, or a free dick.
He'll leave that one alone. But I just thought it was crazy that just, it was kind of crazy, like hearing that from him. And then so I always thought to myself, like, they can't be that, whatever, And then everything that he goes, oh, they're not finished yet. Oh, I remember he was like, oh yeah, they're building stuff. They've got so much stuff going on. He goes, once they have somebody in their sphere of things, they always know where you're at. They always know what you're doing. He goes, like, that's the part that when you become a Secret Service person and you know secrets on them, like, they know you. Like, you don't ever get out of their privy. It's kind of scary,
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here. You're finishing with the Rug Munchers. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, I had a great show here with you today. Talked about BTC. We're gonna watch what's going on with BTC here. See if it continues its downward trend for a little bit here. Pedro and I both said this is a good thing. November opening up down, and sometime this week we'll do in the next day or so we'll do an evening show on Rumble Premium and talk about where this month is going and plan it out so we can see if we were a genius, like almost last month. Almost, we were so close. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, as I always say, the man in the box next to me is Mr. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. My name is Striking, otherwise known as Tom in the real world. So glad to have hosted another episode of this great show called DYOR Live. We'll see you tomorrow. Didn't play.